Alright, welcome back to our Cryengine tutorial set. In this video, I'm just going to show you the basics of creating a map. So we have Cryengine loaded here, and all I'm going to do is go to File up here in the corner, and I'm going to go to New. Now you're given a couple options here, the first of which is what you want to name your level. So I'm going to go ahead and name this tutorial. And beneath it, you have three more options. You have this checkbox, Use Terrain. And for the most part, you're always going to want terrain. Under Height Map Resolution, this is going to determine the size of your map. So for this little demonstration, I will choose 256. Now the other important box over here is meters per unit, and meters per unit determines how detailed your map is going to be. So if I select 1 here, my terrain is going to be able to be very detailed, lots of triangles, which means that the computer will have to render more, so you could suffer on performance with this option. So if you have a map that the terrain is not very important, like a big flat area, then 32 might be your best option. But if you have like a forest area or something like that, where there's a lot of hills and things like that, and you want it to look very good and detailed, 1 is probably what you want. We'll go ahead and click OK here, and it will start to build our map for us. In a moment here, we will get another box. While that loads, it's good to mention that when creating and saving and loading maps, it's best to run the editor in administrator mode when you're in Windows, because there's some permissions issues that come up with saving and loading maps occasionally if you don't run as administrator. So now that this other box is up, generate surface texture, we have all these different options here, and it's best to match the size of your map. So we did a small map, so we'll go smaller, and the texture is going to be the actual texture of your terrain, so like the little small rocks or like sand or things like that. And a good rule of thumb in general is to check the high quality box, because it does make it look better. And since we're doing this for filming videos and we don't really mind the performance issues, it's better to just make it high quality. Then we'll click OK. And a very common thing is that this error report box will come up, and it goes through little errors that the engine experienced while creating things. And in my experience, they've been 100% insignificant, and they don't really mean much, so I always close that box. And you'll notice here that it has created this map for us that has ocean, as far as you can see, in every direction. And the terrain that has been generated for us is starts at absolute 0 on the map, so it is actually below the water. So you cannot see it right now. But when we go over learning about raising and lowering terrain and how to really work with it and make it look good, then we'll be able to see that. The other thing that I want to mention in this video is that under Open, so when we go to open a new map, inside of the Game Crisis 2 folder and Levels is where your maps are going to save themselves. You'll notice in this folder that there's also a lot of other maps listed in here, and these are the maps that the Crisis 2 levels are built upon. And so these levels have a lot of awesome material already built on them that could be really useful for filming scenes in Machinima. And so they're worth checking out. It's worth going through a few of them and seeing what they look like. There's a lot of great detail, a lot of great scenes that could be filmed in some of these maps. All right, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and close up.